Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. Reyes, and as promised, this is the answers to the 10.3 worksheet that you guys had worked on last week. And so I'll go over it just pretty quickly, just to give you an idea about how I went and handled some of the problems. So for number 2 here, it starts out by saying that Jessica and Jody got to the bowling alley at 12:37 p.m. They are there for 3 hours and 17 minutes. And what time did they actually leave the bowling alley? So one of my little tricks of the trade is I try to color code and I use the start time in green, the elapsed time in blue, and the end time in red. And so I was able to circle my start time, I was able to circle my elapsed time, which tells me that I know I'm going to be looking for my end time. So I started my open number line at 12:37 p.m. And then I went ahead and looked at, well, how many hours am I moving into the future? And so I know that the last time is 3 hours and 17 minutes. So I made a very large jump of 3 hours from my begin time. And 12:37 p.m. plus 3 hours later is going to be 3:37 p.m. And then I'm actually looking at my minutes, which state 17. And so I'm going to break up that 17 between a 10 and then the 7 ones. And so at 3:37, I'm going to add on my 10 minutes at 3:47 p.m. And then when I add on my minutes, this would be 3:47, 3:48, 3:49, 3:50, 3:51, 3:52, 3:53, and then 3:54. And so since I have all of my elapsed time counted, and it looks like everything's correct on my number line, my ending time for when they leave the bowling alley is at 3:54 p.m. So for number 3 here, it reads that Karen and Sienna are going to the shopping mall. They arrive at 4:43 p.m. They shop for 3 hours and 32 minutes, and what time they leave the mall. So I used my green for my start time, my blue for my elapsed time, and then it looks like I'm looking for my red. That is something that I don't have. So I'm going to start out my number line, my open number line, with my begin time, my arrival time, which is 4:43 p.m. I'm going to look at my elapsed time, and I'm going to start making those jumps. So I made 3 jumps of 1 hour each: 4:43, 5:43, 6:43, 7:43. And then I'm going to look at my minutes. In my tens place, I have 3 tens. So I'm going to go ahead and create my 3 tens, and then I'm going to do my counting on. So this is 7:43. 10 minutes later would be 7:53. And then this is a tricky part here because I'm moving from the 7 o'clock hour into the 8 o'clock hour. So I go from 7:53 to 8:03, and then from 8:03 to 8:13. And then I've got 2 minutes in my ones column, so I'm going to add on my 2 minutes. So at 8:13, 14:15. So looks like everything's correct. It looks like my ending time for when Karen and Sienna are leaving the shopping mall is going to be at 8:15 p.m. And I had already done number 4 for you. And here is number 5, which I thought was pretty simple. It talked about how Summer went to work at 3 p.m. This is your begin time. She worked for 4 hours and 45 minutes. That's your elapsed time. What time did she get off of work? So that's going to be your end time that you're looking for. So I started at 3 o'clock when she got to work. I know that she worked for 4 hours, so I made a very large jump of 4 hours. So 3 plus 4 is 7 o'clock. And then all I had to do is go ahead and add in my 45 minutes, which was nice and simple. 7 o'clock plus 45 minutes is 7:45. So it looks like Summer left work, or she got off of work at 7:45 p.m. Now number 6 was a little bit more complicated. I hope you guys didn't have too much trouble with this one. This one's going to be one of those where you work backwards. So when you read the problem, you're going to notice that you have your end time and your elapsed time, and that you're missing your beginning time, your start time. So it starts out by saying it takes Kelly and Brian 3 hours and 15 minutes to travel to Colorado from their house. If they arrive at Colorado at 12:18 p.m., what time do they leave their house? So I'm going to use the information that I have. So I'm going to start actually this way. So at 12:18 is when I know that they arrived in Colorado. It states in the problem that it takes them 3 hours and 15 minutes to get there. So now I'm going to start moving backwards by my 3 hours and 15 minutes. So at 12:18, if I move backwards, I know that that would be by 1 hour, that would be 11:18, 10:18, 9:18. So there were my 3-hour increments. And now I need to go ahead and move back by my 15 minutes. So at 9:18, if I move back by my 10 minutes, that would land at 9:08. And then I simply need to move back by 5 more minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if this is 9:08, 9:07, 9:06, 9:05, 9:04, 9:03. So it looks like Kelly and Brian left their house or left wherever they were traveling from at 9:03 a.m. in the morning. They traveled for 3 hours and 15 minutes and arrived in Colorado at 12:18 p.m. And last but not least, we've got Xander started playing with his dinosaurs at 10:22 a.m. and stopped playing with them at 12:03 p.m. How many hours and minutes did Xander play with his dinosaurs? So this is an interesting one because I have my beginning time and I have my end time, which means I'm missing my blue, which is my elapsed time. So I'm going to start my open number line at 10:22 a.m. and I'm trying to get to 12:03 and figure out, well, how many hours and minutes would that be? So when I start at 10:22 a.m., I personally like to get to a nice time for me to start adding on minutes to. So I know that if I'm at 10:22 a.m., if I add 8 minutes, I can get to 10:30. So I'm going to start my elapsed time by adding that 8 minutes in. So 10:22 a.m. plus 8 minutes is 10:30. And then I can jump 1 hour into the future because I know that I'm at 10:30. If I jump 1 hour, it is 11:30. Now I cannot jump another hour, another whole hour, because at 11:30, another whole hour would be 12:30. And he stopped playing with his dinosaurs at 12:03. So another hour would be too much time. So I know I can go ahead and add another 30 minutes to get to that 12 o'clock. So if this is 11:30, I'm going to add that 30 minutes to get to the 12 o'clock. And then since now I've landed at 12, I have to get now to that 3 minutes. So I'm going to add that 3 minutes in to finally land at 12:03. And to find that elapsed time, I simply need to add up all of my times inside my jumps, inside my rainbows. So I know I have 1 hour. This is 30 minutes plus 8. So far I've got 1 hour and 38 minutes plus my additional 3 minutes. So 38 plus 3 equals 41. So 1 hour and 41 minutes is how long Xander played with his dinosaurs. So hopefully you guys did okay. Know that this is a challenging concept. If you didn't do all that well, I mean, that is okay. We are learning this and we're going to continue working on it this week. So just remember, take your time, try to keep your work as organized as you can. And then remember, Mrs. Howard and Mrs. Reyes are always here for you to help you out in any way that we can. Just let us know what we can do. All right, guys, have a great day.